Happy Father's Day. So this is not only Dad's Day, but it's also Juneteenth, the day in which we celebrate the last enslaved people in America hearing that they had been set free and they were now free to live their own lives according to their own desires and wishes and not be doing what someone else commanded. And it reminds me that one of the great pleasures of being a father and one of the real responsibilities of a father is to protect the family, to provide for the family, to be a strong person, to be able to stand in and do whatever is necessary for the well-being of a family. And I was struck by the fact that these 2 days land on the same time, and that if you were enslaved at the time, you were not able to do any of those. Not with assurance, anyway. You could only do so much, and it was quite limited what that would be. And you think about the devastation of the psyche of the man if the best you could do was limited to such a great degree. And so on the day we celebrate freedom, let us also remember that the past has a cost, and like we have said before, the generation after generation bears the cost, not just the first one. And so let us be especially grateful to our fathers, especially those who have that heritage for what they are doing with their lives as they expand their own sense of freedom and responsibility. And many people look to their fathers with hurt in their hearts that their fathers were not there for them as much as they had wished. And sometimes that hurt is converted into anger and sometimes into alienation. And so it is a rock in a hard place that many men find themselves as they try to fulfill the duties of both being a father who provides and a father who supports. And so I think on a day in which we honor fathers, should there be any lingering sense that our fathers failed us, I've just given you 3 excuses for them. One is their parents may not have known or been able to be the father they wanted to be. Secondly, there is a difficulty in being the disciplinarian and being the loving parent. Third, I think if you find it hard to forgive your father, realize that he may have been in a bind to feel that he could do all things that he needed to do in his allotted time. So in this sense, I think one of the things I often say when I talk about Father's Day is, Father, I forgive you. I also have one more handicap that I'd like to speak about. That handicap is that internally we have a judge that has been passed down from generation to generation that says we are not enough. And that somehow each of us is somehow failing at what we're doing, even though we might be trying our best. If we would really be on our game, we would come to recognize the judge and not listen, and not give in to it, and find another way of thinking, another way of talking to ourselves when the judge arises. That we can be free of the judge by recognizing when it's talking. For some of us, the judge does most of the internal talking. For others, less. It still is a problem. So finding a way to love yourself is the beginning of being whole and complete. Coming to any relationship, whether it be a romantic relationship or a family relationship or even a work relationship, coming to any of those relationships with yourself as whole brings a very different tenor and a very different outcome than it does if you feel like you are inadequate. because you have loved yourself, you can love them as they are. And without loving yourself, there will be so many holes that when they say something that even resembles criticism, it will find a way into the porous shell of who you are and touch you in the heart and hurt you again. So our job, really, as a grown-up, is to not believe the judge, because we will have learned to love ourselves. And with that comes the renewal of energy, in which we do not place our happiness in someone else's hands, be it boss, child, or wife. And we begin to exude from ourselves the very essence of who we are, which is love itself. And that love is not dependent on their reaction. It is only dependent on our ability to tap into it ourselves. And standing in that place, we could be the fathers we wanted to be.